Constitutional Court will today hear arguments from former President Jacob Zuma's lawyers who seek the reversal of its earlier order sentencing him to 15 months in jail for being in contempt. In his founding affidavit, Zuma claims that the Commission, the State Capture Commission that is, also failed to inform the court about his health condition, citing poor health as the reasons for walking off the witness stand, and that was in November last year. The Commission is opposing the application. It maintains that there's no legal basis for Zuma's application, and it accuses the former president of further trying to undermine the rule of law. Question now is, what do we make of these developments as things stand?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, legal analyst, advocate Mkhululi Stubbs joins us now to look at both of these arguments. Advocate Stubbs, it's great to have you with us on the show this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's perhaps begin here. It's quite something that the Constitutional Court is, in many ways, sort of hearing an appeals process here. Just take us through the decision by the court to allow this rescission application.
Yeah, sure. So it is a little bit of a unique situation in that, and I think as the former president has said, this is the first time that the Constitutional Court has granted an order imprisoning someone. What's strange from a doctrine of precedent perspective or from an authority perspective is usually the Constitutional Court is the final court that says something about a case, as opposed to in this instance where it was the first court to hold him in contempt. And because it's the highest court, it is also the last court that can pronounce on the issue. So that means the former president then is in a little bit of a dilemma, right? How does he get rid of this judgment, given that it's given by the highest court? And the answer is that only the Constitutional Court can vacate its prior decision. And that's what he's asking to do. When he says, Constitutional Court, please rescind your decision, it's not an appeal. It's saying to the court, you made a mistake in the way that you made the decision last time. So let's go again, to put it in simple terms.
Yeah. He also says that the commission, which is, of course, opposing this application by former President Jacob Zuma, that it failed to inform the court about his health condition, citing poor health as the reason why he walked out of the commission the last time.
Yeah, so it might be worth mentioning that there are three different types of contempt. The one that he's going for, the former president that is the Rule 42 type of contempt, which speaks to a procedural problem as opposed to a substantive problem. The question that the court will ask when the former president says, no, that you guys should have told the court that I had a health condition, is whether Mr. Zuma had a fair opportunity to present his own version. And I think, it's up to the court to decide, and I wouldn't prejudge that, but there's certainly an argument that he certainly did have that opportunity. The court explicitly asked him to file an affidavit. Instead, he filed an unsigned 21 or 22-page letter, essentially saying, I'm not interested in coming and taking part in these proceedings.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the former president saying, you should have told the court this, well, the answer to that would be, well, you should have told the court this, and why did you not do so?
Were you surprised, and I want to take it back to my first question, were you surprised, given what you've just said, that the court has on several occasions given former President Jacob Zuma an opportunity to take part in the proceedings at the Constitutional Court, and as you say, he refused to do so? Is that going to play a major role here today?
Yes, I would dare to suggest that it may very well play a major role. And the reason is, the reason is because he is the author of his own misfortune, yes. But the Constitutional Court is also trying to protect its own process as the judiciary. And so a good court, I would suggest, will always be very careful to cross the T's and dot the I's when it comes to, can anyone legitimately say that we did not give every fair opportunity to this litigant because we are the first and last word on this issue? The court is very assiduous to avoid any irregularity that could legitimately be claimed because this is the last chance saloon.
Well, I suppose it brings me to, something that's been the topic of conversation over the past couple of weeks or so, since the court made that decision around a jail sentence for former President Jacob Zuma, is if it was you or I, would we be allowed to make this application for this rescission to the Constitutional Court? Would it open its doors to us?
So, a very difficult question to answer. I'm glad that I don't have to answer it, at least in a judgment. But I think that it's worth asking that kind of question. And if the answer is no, that's to say that if the answer to your question is if you or I were in the former president's position, would we be granted the same opportunities? It's not necessarily a smear or a taint on the court. There is an argument that as a public figure and as the former custodian of the executive authority of South Africa, this is not only a case where justice should be done, i.e. does the former president deserve it or not, but it's a case where the whole country should see justice to be done. So it may very well be argued, what I'm saying is it may very well be argued, not that it's my view, that, well, yes, this treatment might be different, but it's different for good reasons because this is a different type of circumstance from your normal person type of circumstance.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks very much for weighing in on this issue. Of course, it's a big story in the Constitutional Court today. Former President Jacob Zuma's rescission application set to get a decision in the Constitutional Court today. That's Advocate Mkhululi Stubbs. He's a legal analyst joining us on that story.